Good evening. This is the Morning Gardening Show. It's now 5 p.m. and I am here to give you a little information and also get some information from you concerning the gardening season that's coming up. So I'm looking at this, and this is the second Monday that we scheduled the talk show, and we got a couple things I'm going to do today, which is get my seed starter mix started, and that will help me through my quest to grow a better garden this year, and also improve my soil. My soil will be improved even further this year. I started this fall, and I put out some, chop and drop weeds and grass and that sort of thing. And I put everything down so that it would sit on the surface and it would be ready for the spring. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you. I've done a great deal of planning, and I actually went as far as scheduling everything in the garden. I scheduled we ordered a number of things offline this year, and that being seeds. Seeds were mostly ordered offline. I have some seeds I ordered, picked up in the box stores, but for the most part, ordered offline because the store that I go to changed their policy, and they said that they weren't going to they're not going to be in a situation where they're delivering all the garden supplies in early anymore. They're going on another timeline. So when they did that, I went ahead and kept moving because I don't like to wait when it comes to my gardening supplies. I don't like to wait. I'm not like most gardeners, and there's nothing wrong with buying everything as the garden season is going on. But I like to buy all my items before the garden season even stops. My main reason for that is I save more money. When people aren't thinking gardening, I get the items that they normally would get, but I get them at a lower rate because people aren't stimulated into buying gardening items in the dead of winter, and that's when I mostly shop for my garden items in the dead of winter. So everything's done early in my time frame, and that's one of the reasons why I call myself the morning gardener, which morning meaning early in the day. So I definitely make certain that I get the things done. Oh, people are chiming in. I didn't see that. Oh, hello. This lady is great. She's wonderful. She actually promoted my channel a number of times. I appreciate you. And we have say hi and MG. And that's short for morning gardening. For those who may not know, Mr. Price, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hi, from Baltimore. Oh, somebody from Baltimore. Oh, got it, definitely. It's another it's a gentleman that has his I think that's Janine, I think it is. Yeah. Welcome to the show there. Let's see, what's that? Oh my goodness, yes. Now, did anyone here today, I just want to check, get a notice that the show was on? Because that's what I'm trying to set that up. Did anyone get a notice? I mean, well, what I mean is that I set it up a week ago saying, hey, Monday evening it's going to be. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. That person answered it quicker. They just said, yes. I got that information. So now I know how to set it up. Folks, everything is going great. Everything is going great. I have definitely with all the seeds I need. Don't need any more. In fact, I have two. If there's such thing as having too many, I have too many. The garden seeds will be saved this year. I can't keep throwing away seeds that I need. I got to save the seeds, and that way, when spring comes again, if I need seeds, I have hands full of seeds. Don't need to go out stressing out, going to places trying to buy seeds and trying to find out if they're still viable, and the fact that the cost is going up. I don't want to keep going through that. I want to be able to say, save your seeds to your seed bank. What's left over, make certain that you have enough for what you're growing. The way they did it in the olden days, they saved those seeds. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of how pretty my soil is going to look this year. I put the time in, folks. Chop and drop, chop the weeds off, chop the grass off, let it lay down on top of the soil. Don't need to dig it in. Don't need to fuss over it. Don't need to put it in a compost pile. None of that. Some people actually cover it over after they chop everything down and cover it over with a weed barrier type of cloth, so everything dies for the next year. I don't do that. My weeds I use, and I don't want to kill them. I don't need to kill them. I need my weeds to stay in the garden to fertilize my next year's crop. That's nothing but fertilizer. Weeds are fertilizer to me now. We have a relationship. Weeds are fertilizer. Also, I talked a little bit about growing watermelons, and also my cantaloupe in bags of compost this year. I'm going to do that because that's going to be a lot of fun. All I'm doing is get back to my roots. I did this years ago. Grew a lot of cantaloupe, and I grew them in a cheap bag of, it was manure, and that's what I grew it in. It's built like this phone here. See this lip around here? I turned the bag over, poked me some holes in the bag, flipped that side towards the surface, and see where this frame is right here? I just cut it out around here of the bag that I'm going to put in the ground, and poked it in about 3 or 4 seeds. Put me on top of that some blood meal if you're growing watermelons, some all-purpose organic fertilizer, and watered them in, and that was it. And when they took off, the leaves were huge leaves, and they were growing watermelons. And I grew watermelons that way. I grew cantaloupe that way. And the great thing about it is when it's all done, you simply take the manure and either throw it all across your garden, or you put it in your compost pile. Win-win. It doesn't go to waste. It does not go to waste. Another thing is, once these seeds grow, once the watermelons are growing, you're going to need to water them more so than if you grew them in the ground. You're going to have to water them more. I'm a little bit groggy, behind the times, because I am on a diet to bring down my weight. And I just want to do it because went to a restaurant with a friend of mine, buddy of mine, and I haven't seen him in 6 years. And I have nothing against people that were really big, but he was big. He was a big man. And I said, that's you, the way that you're eating, if you continue to do what you're doing. So at any rate, started drinking lots of water and eating less. And when I go to the stores, Instead of buying chocolates and candies and things of that nature, I now switch to dried fruit. And I am really hungry right now. I'm really hungry right now. But I cannot go into that kitchen and pig out. I cannot do that. Those days are gone. I cannot do that. So once I get my weight all down, I'll be able to run around in the garden and pick up things and pick up things and lift things and move faster. And a favorite thing that I miss doing, kneeling down in the garden and doing the garden that way. When you have a lot of weight, you got struggle a little bit. But I'm doing good, and this is second day, and the hardest day was the second day. It was because I wanted so much to eat, and I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't want to keep doing it that way. Now, I am going to start growing some items very, very soon. And that's going to help me towards my diet as well, which is growing fresh lettuce. Fresh lettuce. Can't get them from the grocery store. You can only get that man-made stuff that's in there. How many of you are growing hot peppers this year? How many of you are growing hot peppers this year? Because I'm going to do myself, I'm going to do quite a few. I'm going to do jalapeno, and I'm going to do chili, and like that. And somebody put down here, me. And that's right. Grow that pepper. Start them. I'm going to just give you some information. You might already know. Are you buying the plants or are you growing them from seed? That's the question I should have asked at first, up front. Hands up. Yes. Buckley. Janine. Seeds. Okay, from seeds. What do you could you tell me what zone you're in, Miss Janine? Could you tell me what zone you're in? I see Eddie, how you doing? Eddie is growing. Here's some seeds. Okay, zone 6B, Thorns is going from zone 6B. This will be my first first time. Where have you been getting your information from? This is your first time, Miss Janine? Seeds for me. Baltimore City. Janine, Baltimore City. Wow, you're in the same city I'm in. It's great to, you meet out of towners from Baltimore, like myself. Okay, let's see. From Lead Farmer. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Lead Farmer, I'm familiar with him. Yes. Very knowledgeable individual. The only difference in he and I is that most 90% or so of my focus is mostly just on gardening. I don't, talk about anything like wines or making foods or things like that. I just mostly always focus on just gardening, because that's what I do. See, I have a sickness where my addiction just keeps leading me to studying soil and studying. Did I mention I study soil? Yes, I study soil. I study plants. I study my environment, which is, how the weather has been behaving based on a number of factors, but mainly by how man has been affecting our climate. And so I definitely love gardening. I have a sickness, but it's a great sickness. Let's see. How do I keep rodents out of my? I don't know. Have you had a big problem with rodents? Because I've never ever had a really big problem with rodents. So what? You got a mouse? Something goes over there and take a strawberry every once in a blue moon. Not a real big deal. But new gardeners, usually I found them and say, "Oh, can you eat them because of the at night what runs around in your yard?" Well, let's see. Raccoons will take whole ears of corn. It will take them off somewhere and eat them. Share them with their cubs. I hope I said that right, cubs. But yeah, they will do that. Rabbits will eat a great deal of the greenery and a number of other things. Now, this right here, I love what this person said. It was a Dave Jones right here. I'm telling you, that's it right there. But let me tell you, there's one thing. I love what you said, but there's one thing. Animals that eat from your yard. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I grew some beautiful grapes one year, last year, in fact, and they were beautiful, folks. Absolutely beautiful. I tended to them. I spent time with them and everything. Absolutely beautiful. One day, I said, another 2 days, these grapes will be perfect. I came back from work the second day, and all of the grapes were gone. Every last grape was gone. And I remember what my lady said. She said, you should cover them up. And I did not cover them up because I felt like the birds wouldn't eat all the grapes. But yes, they will. They will eat all the grapes. And that's what they did. They ate all of the grapes. I mean, it looked perfectly like someone had come in and left everything untouched but just the grapes that were on the vine. So I didn't get a taste, but all year long I got to taste two single solitary grapes. But it's okay. Hey, morning garden. Hey, morning garden, everyone. Hello, how are you doing? Hello. Let's see. I plan to grow collards, greens, kale, collard greens, kales, and peppers. Your garden and mine, Janine, are just identical. That's exactly what I'm growing. Collard greens, kale, that sort of thing. The kale is one that will always stay in my garden. Will always stay in my garden. It's part of my garden because it's simple food. I mean, simply because it's a power food. And I think that kale is so good if you cook it right. Because for years I didn't know how to cook it right. But yeah, kale. Kale is expensive. Kale is good for you. You mentioned peppers. Peppers are a very expensive thing to buy when you go to the grocery stores. I'm just checking to make sure I haven't missed anyone. Okay, you plan to can okay, yeah. I'm thinking about that. I got to learn how to do that because canning vegetables is a definitely plus, a heavyweight plus to do that because you're absolutely going to save money when you start canning things. Yeah, you want to definitely do that. Make sure you can. I'm having a good time here. I got a good group of people in here. They're talking, they're asking questions, they're telling me information. The dryer, I'm thinking of getting a dryer to dry some of my fruits, like and also apples. That will be dried, will be absolutely incredible. Because I'm going to the store now and I'm buying dried bananas, and it costs a lot of money, when you go buy them that way. I save tree compost from having trees cut down. Tree compost from having trees cut down. I do that a little bit different now. The only thing that, and I think you're talking about the trees that grow on your property, because all the trees that grow on my property, when I trim my fruit trees down, I now absolutely cut the limbs up and collect that, because the limbs are fertilizer. And that's what I definitely try to hold tight to. They take a while to break down, but they actually do break down. If you put them around the base of your trees, you have nothing but fertilizer. You just add it to your trees. And that comes out to be a win-win. I just want to make sure that I got them. Okay. Make sure that I got them. Yes, sir. I hope that the information that I try to supply each time that I tune in on this channel, that absolutely people get something out of it, and that it helps them. Because all I want to teach you to do here, all I really want to teach you to do here, one of the main things, I'll put it that way, is teach you how to grow soil. And that's it. Because once you get the soil right, and I don't care how many people might want to jump that step, and I've done it, I've tried it, it does not work. You cannot jump that step. You must build beautiful, pure, clean soil. I have them in my raised plant bed. I want to use, what we call that? The trees were dried, rotted, so I asked for the. Okay, I got you. You wanted the shavings of the trees that were rotted. Now, I'd be careful about some trees because sometimes trees are heavily diseased, and that's why they died. Some of them were diseased, so you want to be just be careful. I did that once. I brought a whole bunch of. Everybody was watching. At one time, Back to Eden. Everybody was watching Back to Eden. Everybody was trying to do what Back to Eden was doing. I was ordered truckloads of tree shavings or whatever they call them, chips or whatever. And I was ordering it too and loading up my yard with thousands and thousands of pounds of wood chips. And now I don't do that. I will not do that anymore, because when trees are cut down, and those guys, their job is to cut the trees down. You don't always know what condition those trees were in when they went there and cut them down. Were they rotted? Were they disease ridden? Sometimes you can run into a lot of good deals with the trees and put the stuff down and not have any issues at all. But what if you were to run into heavily diseased trees, and that disease went into your fruit trees that you have on your property? That would be a major, major, major mistake. Oh, excuse me, I had to get myself situated here. Will strawberries start indoors? Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Just be mindful of the time of a year. What you want to do is find out what the frost date is in your location. That's all. You want to go online and Google your farmer's atlas, or I like to do the old farmer's atlas, and Google that and find out what your last frost date is. Now, don't write that in stone when you do find out what it is. It just gives you a really good general idea when this soil and everything is going to start warming up and heading in the right direction of, actually being able to plant certain items at certain times. But you want to find out when is the start dates on strawberries. That's what you want to do. You want to find out when that is. Is it 4 weeks before your last frost date? Is it 12 weeks before your last frost date? And once you get that under control, you off and running. Strawberries are good. I used to grow many of them years ago. I put them in the ground and had maybe 12 plants. And when they start taking over, that's what strawberries do. If you have them in a good environment that they love to be in. If they love to be in the environment, you want to do anything else, they will do the rest. They will take over. They will grow, and they will run. Before I knew it, I had over 90 plants from those 12. Over 90 plants from those 12. Let's see. I plan to and okay, all righty. Let's see. What are you planning to grow? Let's see. This is my first attempt to grow, and I'm stuck with. Okay, this is your first time. This is your first time. Limited budget. Okay, limited budget. All of us are there. Now, a lot of us are not like I am, willing to admit that they are at a limited budget. Some of them want to admit I have no money towards this garden. Some people told me that. And they wanted to let me know, hey, could you suggest anything? Yes, I could. The more you have to do the more you do for yourself, it's going to obviously save you more money. Now, as far as your soil is concerned, what I like to do, if I have, excuse me, if I have clay soil and I'm planting outside, what I like to do is I would dig holes if I'm putting a tomato plant. I would dig holes and I would mix in the hole. If I have clay soil, I would mix in there peat moss, and I would mix. The peat moss would be 2 parts to 1 part of perlite, and I would mix them 2 together, and I would mix them in the hole and stir them up real good, and I would add some compost to that hole and mix it up real good, and then I would set my plant right on top of it with some organic plant food. Now, what this does is you are simply amending just the hole instead of the whole entire garden. And each one I would go down and do that with. I like to dig a hole that's at least about 8 to 12 inches deep with tomato plants, and put the tomato plant in as deep as you can. Some people like to lie the plant down, and which I think is a really great way to do it, because the further down you go, the colder or cooler the soil is, in which it takes longer to warm up. Sometimes take a little bit longer for the plant to get started and rolling. But if you lay the plant down, like you lay the plant down, then the soil is going to warm up a lot quicker as it comes into this season to grow that particular item. Yes, clay soil. Wait a minute, clay soil. No, okay, I know what you mean. You mean soil. That clay soil can be amended. Never listen to people tell you that you have soil that is hopeless because you have clays. Most people have clay soil. That's a fact. That's all it is. But you can improve clay soil immensely by adding organic matter. But since we have already come out of the what we call it, the fall, when all the leaves fell, that's when you should have been collecting all your leaves, piling them on top of your garden, and letting them sit there all winter long, and just letting them sit there. That is what you want to do. You want to add the food to the soil. When you add food to the soil, you're going to bring all kind of, and I mean really a lot of biology into that soil. You're going to bring a lot of biology into that soil, and that's what your aim should be. Feeding just the soil. Feeding does soil. Feeding does soil. You don't need to go to the big box stores to do this. You don't need to do any of that. All you need to do is feed that soil, and that soil will definitely give you a heads up. During the growing season, you can feed the soil at that point too. Just chopping and dropping weeds, grass, chopping and dropping, chopping and dropping. And a lot of time, folks, when you're growing in the garden, I'm gonna hit you with this and see where we go at this. And a lot of the shows that on may not mention this, but the true secret is, a lot of times, pay attention, number one, to your leaves on your plant. They'll tell you what the plant is doing. Leaves that are slightly green or yellowing, tell you that something's missing. Leaves that are limp during the real hot part of the day could tell you that they need water. But some people will tell you water every time a plant, no. You want to poke that finger in the ground up to that knuckle. And the moisture around that root base will tell you what to do. If it's moist, leave it alone. If it's dry, go ahead and water it. Go ahead and water it. You don't want to overwater plant, and you don't want to underwater plant. That's what a lot of people fall into the trouble with, is overwatering and underwatering, leaving the plants out there for days without water, and they run into a problem. The plants are out there dying while you in 90 degrees outside, 98 degrees, you're in the air conditioner, so you don't know actually what that feels like. So you want to make certain that you absolutely make sure the plants have water. I am making it's what's the temperature here today? I just want to be accurate when I do what I do. Now I want to tell all of you something that just happened just now. It just went down, but it was just 17 people in this room. Do you know 17 people is the largest audience I've ever had? And I like that, and I appreciate it. The knowledge, the information I'm putting out is going to help a lot of you out there this spring and summer when you go out there and you start gardening. You're going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to see things growing better. Yours, it's a lot of things about your plants that's under. It's not understood by a lot of gardeners, and it is this: you need to get oxygen into those roots. And when you go into your garden, you dig a hole, you put a plant in, you mash down on the soil, and you leave it there. Something's wrong with that, because especially if you have clay soil, on your property, you want to make sure that air gets in there. Now, what I like to do is take a manure fork and mash down, put it in the ground, pop it back, put it in the ground, pop it back every 3 to 4 inches. And I'm letting air into the ground. And the important thing is not to walk on those parts of the ground anymore once you get it all set. I have a tool, oh God, I can't think of the name of it. It's designed for weeds. It's a hula hoe, I believe it is, and it scrapes off the weeds off the top of the surface without really stirring up the soil. It just scrapes it. And so once I get that done, those weeds lay right on top in another location in my yard, adding organic matter. Added another tool to my collection. I want you to get this because this is really good. When you have a lawnmower with a bagger on it, you should utilize that. Because instead of going to the grocery store, the box store, and buying the straw or the hay for $10 and $12 a bundle, I use my grass clippings. I go out, get me a 32-gallon trash receptacle, and I go around the yard and I hit it and I fill it up, and then I go take those grass and I go around the pepper plants, away from the pepper plants, maybe 4 to 6 inches, but I go around it and I go around it. And what happens is when it rains, it moistens those clippings and it keeps that moisture around those plants. And those plants sit there in the hot sun, and it keeps the soil cooler, and it also keeps the soil moist around that location. And once the biology of the soil find that food source, it starts to eat the grass clippings from beneath the surface, and it helps to feed your soil. I have lots of grass that grows on my property. And when I cut it, and I see my neighbors, they bag it up and they leave it somewhere to set it up to go to the trash companies. And I don't want to do that. I know what that grass is worth. I know that it's nothing but free fertilizer. And when I say the word free, folks, I mean free. It means that you had to cut it anyway. And now you're saving it. You're putting it towards your grocery. And you're taking the grass clippings and the weeds. This is how great this is, folks. You're taking the grass that you have to cut or get a fine or a ticket, and you are taking the weeds that grow rapidly throughout your property. And you take it out, and some people take the time and they cut them up into pieces and everything, whatever, and they put them around their fruit trees, and they put them in their garden, and they let that stuff rot down. Folks, this is you're turning your weeds and your grass clippings into groceries when they're feeding your plants that you have in the yard, whether it be okra, whether it be peppers, whether it be tomatoes, whether it be beans, whatever it is, you're turning it into grocery. And you're doing it, you're doing a beautiful thing. You're doing a beautiful thing. Oh, did I mention that I'm on a diet? And folks, I got to tell you, it's not a diet where I'm starving myself. I'm not doing that. I'm just eating very little and drinking lots and lots and lots and lots of water. I'm not recommending this to anybody because I don't want anybody to get sick or whatever, or pass out behind the wheel of a car. Don't want anybody to do that. But I'm doing it for me because I say to check with your doctor if you're going to do any kind of alter any way that you eat. You have to check with your doctor. Safest thing to do. They got to eat too. So anyway, I'm simply bringing it down, and I just feel so much better. Okay, water, Florida. Another thing is, you can even get real technical, even with the water that you add to your plants. You can do that too. I absolutely use rainwater. I don't use water from my city pipes anymore. I used to do that too. I got really, really ticked off when here in Maryland, Maryland, Baltimore City, Maryland. And what it did is they went up on the water bills. They took all the money that was towards our budget to keep our pipelines in good condition for years, and then they took it and spent all that money up. And then the money was allocated towards that particular part of the city that keeps everything running smooth, and they use that money up. So once they use it up, now they hit the residents again and said, hey, by the way, we got to increase your stuff by 30%. So I knew that this was going to affect my gardening, because if I want to grow, and I don't want to grow the biggest tomato, that's not my goal, the biggest head of lettuce and anything like that, that's not my goal. And some people might have a goal to do that, and that's fine if they want to do that. But I want to grow the best tasting, the best quality food that's very dense in nutrients. Very dense in nutrients. And so I knew that when they went up on the water bill, this was going to affect my bottom line. So what I did is got to look around on the internet, and I go to this YouTube here. This YouTube is a monster. That's what it is. It's a monster. And that YouTube said, listen, build a rain barrel system. And I looked at all the rain barrel systems, and I found one that works for me. I said 55-gallon drums. I want those, okay? And you buy food grade barrels, or you get somebody to give them to you. Food grade barrels. And so I was looking at these different videos. They showed me when people cutting holes in the barrels and connecting faucets in, or cutting holes in the top and connecting the rain gutter down into there. And I said, I don't want that, because one, it's going to attract a whole bunch of mosquitoes during the spring and summer. When you cut a hole in there with a mosquito can get to the water, don't want that. And then I saw that they were cutting holes in the faucets and using that knob one that goes on top. I didn't want that. I found that 3/4 PVC pipe and certain fittings, and I fit all this together, created a manifold, flipped the tanks upside down, drilled one hole up there about that big in the side, popped a rubber hose in there, completely sealed it, went around it with a clear, they call it silicone type of glue, rubber basically. So that was completely sealed. And then I put in my gutter a hole about this big. It was a unit that's made for this. And I don't know where to find them right now, because not enough people are buying them for people to still have them online, but they're still online somewhere. So I bought this, and I ran them from the drain gutter to the drum. It fills up one drum, fills up the other drum. That's the manifold system. And then when they fill up, they divert the water back down. It's slick. They divert the water right back down the regular gutter location where it goes out at. Hello, everyone. Hello, how you doing? Oh, that's Angela. And that's what I did. Now I love it, folks. The water fills up those drums. I don't have to buy water anymore. Then I got the nerve to go ahead and get a pump. It's called a Sure Flow. I can't think of the other part of it. It's an auto stop. In other words, once I hooked the pump up there, hooked it into a 12-volt battery, which is that battery. What's that battery called used for golf cots? Can't think of it right now, but a deep cycle battery. When I added that 100 pounds of PSI, 100 PSI pump, 100-foot hose, folks, I could pump water through my property like it was actually hooked up into a city. The pressure behind it is incredible. I water everything down. I can hit everything in my property with that Sure Flow pump. I got 100 gallons of water, which is two 55-gallon drums. I was going to make it 200 gallons, but I couldn't wait for the other, to relocate 2 more tanks. So I said, this is enough. Let's try 100. And for the last 8 years, I've been using these tanks. Never had a lick of trouble out of them. Not a lick of trouble out of them. And if you want them to look better around on your property, if you're real particular about things, you could actually paint the drums the same color as your siding. And so that way they kind of blend in with the house. That's what it is. eBay, Craigslist. Oh, I like that. Thank you very much. You said look on eBay or Craigslist for those particular drums, 55-gallon containers. Now look, I want to thank this fellow gardener. I want to thank because they put that information right there and it helped somebody. Because I knew about Craigslist, but I didn't know, because what I got a little disappointed because when I went on Craigslist, they were selling them back to the time I looked, they wanted $60 per drum. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing $60 per drum. But there may be somebody on there that's got stacks of drums on their property, don't know what to do with them, hope somebody do come get them. It might be offered for $25 or $30 a tank. So give it a try. Give it a try. Pick up the big pickup truck, drive up there, get your tanks. Make sure that you looking for something that says food grade, and you get them to your property. Hook that sucker up. It don't cost nothing to do. Cut up your PVC. There's a couple of videos out there that show you how I did it. And you might want to go to my site and look at how mine are hooked up. And mine are hooked up pretty decent. I said, yeah, this will work. And I put them drums up there and I set them on 2 cinder bricks tall. And that creates a more of a pressure so the water come out better. I bought ball valves. I like them better. PVC, 3/4 inch. Cut them on. Water comes running out. Hell, I even shot videos of my tanks emptying out for the end of the year. I put the camera there. It took it almost an hour or so to empty out. But the water looked so good coming out. Put some music behind it. Music was like so relaxing watching the water. But anyway, I digress, folks. I'm getting off track here. Soon we'll be coming up to these frost dates. I'm paying close attention to mine because I think I'm right up on one. And I don't want to do like I did last year. I planted the tomato plants so early that you plant them in the house so early, and then the cups get root bound, and you put them in the ground, and the plant's kind of permanently damaged because it's actually stunted because you had it in a cup too long. But tomato plants anywhere, you want to start from the frost date, go back about 6 to 8 weeks. Perfect. Hot peppers take longer to germinate and grow. They're just a slower grower than the sweet peppers. Keep that in mind. you want to definitely put them in anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks from the last frost date. Eggplants, 6 to 8 weeks from the last frost date. You want to do melons 4 weeks before the last frost date. And put the melons in, you get them, around soil temperatures around 65, 70 degrees. Another one of the last things you want to be able to plant. Okra is about 4 weeks from the last frost date, because okra's a funny thing about germinating. You don't want to put them in any cold soil, because they're not going to do anything with the seeds are going to just rot right there in the soil. So, that's how that works there. Put mosquito and then well, I don't know about the mosquito the mosquito you put I know what you're talking about. It's a treatment you put in the water for mosquitoes. But here's what I'm running at with this. You buy the right setup for your rain barrels. You won't have to do anything. You want to put a mosquito dunk or any of that in there. You won't have to do it, because the system, my system outside, is completely sealed. They couldn't get a drink of water if they wanted to out of my barrels. They couldn't get it. It's sealed. So look at my system. The manifold system works best. Was it a rain barrel system manifold? You might want to look around and do. But if you look at mine, you'll see how mine are put together. And everything is just screwed together. I didn't cut any holes, screwed together. Now I made a manifold pipe and cut, a T in, and made me a ball valve there. I put 2 ball valves in. One that goes to the main hose that goes into the shore flow pump, and the other one is further up. So if I want to fill up like little water cans or whatever, and that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do. I said, I said, what part of Baltimore City are you in? I am in the northeast part of Baltimore, and so it's just a part of the city that still has some pretty good size properties that would allow for you to be able to grow a garden. What part of the city are you in? It's a beautiful thing, folks. It's a beautiful thing. Make certain that you definitely try to grow you something this year. Don't give up. You're going to get better at it, and it's not going to be as challenging. I'm off Edmondson. Okay, I'm familiar with where that is in Edmondson. Yep, Edmondson. The thing about it is, make certain that when you grow your food, it's going to take a lot out of your soil, and just remember to put that back. And you got to make certain that you take care of that soil. And that hard soil that you walk on, and it's hard and it's clay. That's not a permanent condition. You can change that. You can change that. Oh, look at this. Look at this right here. I'm looking at the fact that hours almost went by that fast. And I'm actually looking everywhere on the channel at each of your videos. I'm looking around at them. Angela's, I check her videos out. I definitely go there because she says some good information that she gives, and she'll actually take time and explain what she's doing. So I like that. Yep, lettuce is so easy to grow. Lettuce is easy to grow. Just keep one thing in mind when you do lettuce. If you do a soil mix or a soil-less mix, you want to have the soil loose, and you want to have the soil where there's lots of air. And I'm telling you, people, the good thing to do is have that air in where you can get in that soil. Because when you have it set up like that, the plants are going to grow faster and they're going to grow stronger because of the fact they're getting oxygen. I equate that with you actually running for a bus and somebody put their hand over your mouth while you're running. you're not going to be able to run as fast. In fact, you might stop and collapse. My point being is that you just don't need to just give them fertilizer and water. You need to actually have the soil loose with the. I told you the manure fork is the one that I use. I actually wore mine out, and I see myself shopping for another one very soon. But I don't want to give up my old. You know how that feels. You don't want to give up your old one because it's stuck by you so many years. But now the handle's giving out on it, and I want to put another handle in, but I don't know exactly how to do that. We're looking around a little bit. Might look some more for videos that will show me how to put another handle on an older garden tool. Let's see. I keep hearing that rodents around here will eat up all the garden. I don't know who told you that. Let me explain something to you. You do have a situation, depending on where you are, with rodents eating. Okay, every animal is going to eat. You're going to have raccoons that will go in there and eat stuff. Yes, they will. Absolutely. Had a neighbor that gave up because he did not like the fact that raccoons would ravish his property when he was trying to grow food. Plants that you could grow that will back certain rodents away from your property. There's so many natural ways of you could go on YouTube and say how to naturally keep rodents off of your property. There's tons of information there. You might have to take a different approach than someone who has has no problem with rodents. You may have to take a different approach. You may have to grow certain plants that will run off certain rodents that you will grow each year that will keep rodents away from your property. Some people put up scarecrows that in a shape and look like an owl that you move every 2 or 3 weeks. You move it to another spot in the yard, and it looks like an owl, and that keeps birds and certain rodents away from your property. Okay, I'll check. Yeah, absolutely. Give it a check. Raccoons love cum. Oh, corn. God damn, I gotta get one there on glasses. Yeah, corn. Okay, they're so close together. But yeah, raccoons eat up corn. Birds will eat up corn. But the main factor is the raccoons. They will pull down a corn stalk at night while you sleep or at work. Remove the cobs from it, and you'll never see it unless you pay close attention to your property. You'll look down and you see an actual whole stalk down in the yard, and it'll look like it didn't grow any corn on it, but actually they took the corn that night. Let's see. Okay, a sock. I've never heard that. That's interesting. Let's see. Mint plants help to. Okay, all right. There's another recipe there talking about mint plants and Irish Spring soap. Okay, that's another one, an interesting idea. So there are ideas out there that will help you, is my point. Let's see, I read that about watered down. Become. Wait a minute. Okay. I see what you got here. You're speaking about they've had those challenges where they showed human urine as the next miracle grow, and I want to tell you how true that is. It's absolutely true. Urine is 4600. Its ratings. It's so high in nitrogen, and it's perfectly balanced for your plants. The only thing you would do when you would, urine is, now I don't know all this said about, what medications you may take may affect, blah, 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 blah. I don't know about that part, but I do know that urine is so good for your plants. And most people don't know how to, it's embarrassing to use this. They're worried about what the neighbors will say, blah, 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 what people think. You can take it outside in a completely colored container and work with it, then never see what's in it. But if you take it out there in a milk jug and they look at it and see the yellow, bada boom, bada bang, they already know that there's urine in there. 1 part urine, 10 parts water. 1 part urine, 10 parts water. If it's going to be seedlings, it's 1 part to 22 parts of urine. You want to really water it down, in other words, if you're using for seedlings. But urine is so full of nitrogen, it is a shame. If you use it, it would darken your plants up to the darkest green you ever wanted to see. And that is the truth. Urine is being kept a quiet secret, but in so many places they are using urine, and they nicknamed it urea so that it wouldn't just say urine on the bag. Urea. Urea is nothing but urine. Been cooked, dried, and made into a white kind of flakes and or powders or yeah. So that's how that works. Wow, I never heard of that. I never heard of that. Yeah. Now, what is it you never heard of? Let's see. You talking about the urine being used, or urea, or what part of it? No, this is so around plants. Animals don't like the smell. I got you. Yeah. The animals don't like the smell of certain man-made products like soap. I got you. That makes all the sense in the world. The urine used. Oh, absolutely. They've been using urines for thousands of years. It's just that they having a hard time selling the public on it and saying, hello, your vegetables are being grown by urine, human urine. It would hurt sales in stores, so they're concerned about that. What you think about the products that they do, but they know that urine is an excellent plant food. It is excellent. Nature designed it that way because it's not a problem in any way. It's not hurting anything, and it's benefiting everything. 46 is the rating of nitrogen, 0, phosphorus, and potassium, and that's the way that works. Urine, outstanding. Yep, urine. And some families actually collect it from all members of the family, and they put it in big barrels and they take it out there and they mix it down. Or some of them actually have what they call folks, excuse me, I've been up all night. But it is a valve that you can screw onto your water supply, and it's another tube, a siphon hose, like a siphon in a sense. And you put the tube down in a 5-gallon bucket of urine. And what it does is it actually blends the water with the urine, 16 parts water to whatever part of the urine. It actually is a beautiful way it does it, because you can't overuse the urine on a plant. It balances it out where you can spray all your garden with the urine down at the root base, and it will be a beautiful thing. Your plants will do extremely well. Extremely well. If you ever are concerned about it, I'll tell you what you do. Pick a couple plants that you say, I want to test this out on, and just use it for that. Just use the plants for that. Whether it be peppers, whether it be okra, whether it be kale, collard greens, whatever, and watch those plants outgrow or actually outperform the other plants. I watched a few videos showing results. Let's see, that is urine is a beautiful thing, folks. That's just that simple. The plants take it in, the biology in the soil takes it in, and it's just a wonderful thing. You are not going to lose out by trying this. Well, folks, this has been my time. God, I want to thank all of you. You guys actually broke a record this time. I had 17 people. I think one time I got hit by 18. And I'm going to do it again Monday. And I really want each of you to start doing something for me. Leave those comments. You look at these videos, leave something, say something. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. But you give me some information. It'll take me in a direction so I'll know next time what it is you want to talk about, what it is you're interested in. and what it is that you think of the show. If you don't like the show, say, daggone it, I wasted an hour of my life, you bum, whatever. Or hopefully won't get to that extent, but you might leave it in there and say, Morning Garden, thank you, man. I learned something on your show. I want to just thank you for that. Oh, thank you very much. Said, thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do you have a gardening channel? I just want to know because I want to go check it out. Okay, this person is a little quiet there. Janine, do you have a gardening channel? Might already checked out because everybody's dropping out there. No, sir. No, sir. Oh, okay. Well, it's always time to start. I got a friend I'm starting this year. He bought a house and he's got family now and he wants to start a garden. And I said, listen, you get in touch with me. I said we could start it out by buckets. We could get it going. We could do something. Get your garden out there. But here's the thing I told him be very careful about. Once you eat vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers from your own garden, and you get hooked, I said, don't blame me because you're going to get hooked. When you taste what a tomato actually is supposed to taste like, you will get hooked. All right, good people, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Remember to leave those comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, and also some comments verbally or written. And I will get back to you as soon as possible, but I want to thank you for taking the time out and stopping by and seeing me. We're going to do it all again next week, Monday, 5 p.m. What time did I say? Did anyone get that? What day is it on next week? I just want to leave it off at that. Somebody just type something and say, yes, he said Monday, 5 p.m. All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you. 5 p.m. All right, good people. Thank you very much. This has been the Morning Garden. And I want to say thank you. Remember to keep on growing. And if you haven't started a garden yet, you know who you are. Start a garden. Take care.